All right, thank you everyone for being here. We're very, very excited about this year with the ReliaQuest Bowl, especially because it's our 40th anniversary of a bowl game here in Tampa. We've been called a few things, but we have a tremendous title sponsor, locally born here in Tampa, ReliaQuest, a global security company that has titled it now for the 4th year and celebrating our 40th bowl game this year. Coach Ferentz, you've seen a few of those. But we're very, very excited about that. We're going to have a great day of weather tomorrow. It's going to be football weather. A little chilly for us in Florida, but great football weather, so we're very, very excited about that. This morning, we have not only two tremendous teams here that's going to put on a great show tomorrow, two very, very talented teams, two top 20, 25 teams, but also we have two of the best coaches in the college game. Coach Ferentz, as most of you know, is set a record for most wins ever by a Big Ten coach. He's also, I think, 27 years at Iowa, I believe, longest tenured coach at one location, which speaks a lot not only to the university but to his success. And we also have Coach Lee here, who is the A. Robinson Coach of the Year this year. Tremendous with his resume as well, but just the fact that we have the two fantastic coaches leading these two terrific programs. So we're very, very excited to have them here today. I'm going to ask each of the coaches to make a brief opening statement just on their week here and whatever they'd like to say in regards to their preparation. And then we'll open it up to questions from the media. So as the designated home team, Coach Lee, Vanderbilt Commodores, we'll let you go first. Thanks.
Well, thank you, and it's such an honor to be with you guys this afternoon. I appreciate it. I want to start just by saying what an honor it is to share a stage with Coach Ferentz. I think there's a few guys in our profession that are considered to be the highest level, and certainly Coach is a part of that group. What he's been able to build at Iowa is honestly everything that we want to build at Vanderbilt, including the long-term stability and the sustained success. And, we know we have a really tough opponent tomorrow. I think that makes this such an exciting game. I think there's similar DNA strands in both programs. But I just have such a respect for Coach, how he's done it for as long as he's done it, as high a level as he's done it, and done it the right way too. So our team is really excited to be here. This is a great next step for our program. And we are grateful to the ReliaQuest Bowl. We're grateful to Jim and the ReliaQuest Bowl staff. This has been an incredible experience for our team. We talk about relatedness being our edge, which means we create a sense of belonging, a sense of community as a team. And to have a week here, to be able to spend this time together has been so meaningful to us. This is Team 5, my 5th team at Vanderbilt, and this has been a really special one. This has been a record-setting team for us, an historic team. And tomorrow is our final climb. And so there will be some sadness in that, just like there are with all endings, but it'll be a great way to celebrate the accomplishments this team has had and the time we spent together. This week in Tampa has certainly been foundational to that celebration. And we're really excited for the opportunity to play one last time. We're healthy. We're excited, obviously, with the exception of Eli Stowers, which we talked about earlier in the week. We expect everyone to be there ready to go. We've had a good week of prep. And, again, I think what makes this most exciting to us is the opponent we're playing against and how tough and challenging the game will be. But, we know we need to be at our best tomorrow, and we expect to be at our best. And again, excited to share the field with Iowa and Coach Ferentz. So thanks again for having me, and just know how grateful that Vanderbilt is to be here. And, again, thankful to the ReliaQuest Bowl for including us. And hopefully we play at a level that represents how grateful and appreciative we are to be here.
Coach Ferentz?
Appreciate it, Mike. Thank you. First of all, just, good afternoon. Really excited to be here, like Clark. And it is a great opportunity for both our teams, and I think we're well aware of that. Our first trip was after the 2003 season, and a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have changed in college football, certainly. The one thing that hasn't changed is just the experience here. it's been first class all the way. Jim and staff do a great job. Glenn, and the folks at ReliaQuest have just continued a great tradition. And on a personal, it was kind of exciting for me just in that not a player on our team had been here before. We weren't here since the 18 season. So it was kind of fun coming down here knowing that our players were going to have a great experience. And everyone I've talked to has just thoroughly enjoyed it. So appreciative of that, and just, kudos to everybody involved with that. Bowls, just say a word about that too, just talking about changes, more and more with each year. You talk about, the value, or you hear talk about the values of bowls and, how much does this game mean, all that kind of stuff. And I just, it just makes me shudder a little bit in that, I still think it is special. Maybe I'm outdated a little bit, but every opportunity a team has to compete is special. And when you get the chance to play in a bowl game where you're together for another month as a team, you get one more chance to compete together and stay in a really nice city, in a really nice place, and get treated really well. I don't see how it's a bad deal, but if you enjoy competition, which I think is what college football is all about, it's hard to minimize the importance of these games. So we're just absolutely thrilled to be here. And as much as the playoff system continues to change and all that, I'm pretty sure one thing at the end of the day, there's only going to be one champion, no matter how many teams we invite to the dance, all that stuff. So, if that's your sole goal, which we all start that way, obviously, but there's a lot more to what's going on in football than that. So, to that point, just, again, really excited to be here. The game itself, and Clark talked about that, and I think we probably see it both the same way. My sense is both teams are really excited to be here. Very few people opting out of the game in this game, which is also another trend. I go back a couple years ago, we had one of our best players, Sam Laporta, opting in, coming off a knee surgery, had a scope late in the season. He fought his ass off to get back in and play up in the Music City Bowl, and I think that's more of the type of player we tend to have, is guys that like to play and want to get out there and compete. So I think you're looking at two teams that are really going to work hard and have worked hard. They've earned their way here. And when you look at Vanderbilt, just what an outstanding job they've done. Clark's been there and just methodically built that thing from my vantage point, outsider looking in, built it internally, and then, complemented the team with the portal, which is today's football. But when you watch them play, it's hard to find them not playing hard in any game that they've competed in this year. They just had a great season. You don't luck into a 10-win season. There's no way to do that. So it's a real compliment to Clark, his staff, and their players. Obviously, offensively, they're a very explosive football team, scored a lot of points. The quarterback is the featured player there, no question. They're quarterback driven, but it's a lot more than that. That's oversimplification. They've got a really good offensive line. They've got, receivers that are really good. Tight end, I know they lost one, but they've got another guy that's very dangerous, and a couple good running backs. So you look at their entire lineup, it's a team effort. It's a team effort by all those guys, and then the quarterback, certainly a wild card. Defensively, they make it tough to run, and they don't give up a lot of points. It's 23 points, and to me, that's the only stat that really matters in football is, points scored and points allowed, and they've done a great job there. And then you watch special teams, and their players see the value in special teams that have bought in. That's very, very clear too. So, bottom line, we're going to have to be at our best to have a chance to be competitive in this game, and that's what we've been trying to work for. Bowl games are interesting, different than anything you do during the season, because you have that period where you're playing, but you don't know who you're playing. Then you figure out where you're playing and who you're playing. But even then, you still have a lot of time. So you're practicing, just trying to stay in football shape a little bit. But also, at some point, you turn your attention to the opponent and game prep and those types of things. So it's a long month from that standpoint. And really what it boils down to is once you get to the game week is having the players being able to focus when they need to. And like any game you play any time of the season, first game or last game, it's just respecting the opportunity to compete and then respecting what it takes to be successful. And teams that understand that tend to do better. And certainly our opponent, they've done a great job of that. So, it should be a great game tomorrow. We're looking forward to the challenge, and we'll go from there. And I'll turn it back to you, Mike.
Great. Down here, yep. I'm sorry, Victoria. Just raise your hand when you want to ask a question, please.
I want to start with Chad Lice, Dakota Des Moines Register. I want to start with Coach Lee. You have a familiarity with Tim Lester. I know you coached with him at Syracuse for 3 years. Probably faced him a lot in practice, I'm guessing. So any good stories about Coach Lester, and how does maybe that familiarity, I don't know, what dynamic does that play in this game, if anything?
Oh, I've got a lot of great stories about Timmy, and if you've ever spent much time with him, you know there are a lot of stories there too. Tim's a great guy, great family. That was a fun time for us together in Syracuse. At the time, when Tim took over, honestly, what he was doing with kind of multiple tight ends off the ball, multiple motions, in some ways there are strands of that offense in what we do at Vanderbilt. But it was so cutting edge at the time. One of the most challenging parts was preparing for it in the spring. You're watching the Elmhurst College film, which was just a little different, but always creative, outside the box thinker, willing to take risks. It's been fun to watch him, obviously, through his time at Western Michigan, and then the year spent in the NFL I think was really formative. What I see on film now has some of the creative aspects of what I knew him to be at Syracuse, but also you see a real emphasis on the stretch run game, some of those NFL kind of elements that have become to define that game. And this is a world-class person and a really good football mind, and I'm so happy for him and his success.
Right here in front.
Kirk, wanted to ask you, I know you're focused on the game tomorrow, but the portal switch comes right after that. How prepared do you guys feel like you are for when that's happening, and the legwork that you guys have done maybe in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, honest answer is who the hell knows, right? I mean, this has been so bizarre. We were, as I mentioned, sequestered to the barracks this past month. So we actually are like football coaches, coaching our players, talking to our players, not running in, running out, and trying to sneak a practice in. So it's been kind of neat that way. December, and we're actually, and I typically after a bowl game, I like to give everybody a couple days just to get their acts together and recharge a little bit. But we're gonna have to meet the day after the game, I guess, or day after we travel. So what's that, Friday? Just to kind of get State of the Union, because it changes every day. We have people working on that. I haven't given it a hell of a lot of thought the last 5 days, so it's just the way it is. But yeah, we'll adjust to it and we'll handle it. We're certainly going to be active in the portal. To what extent? I think what's most important are the guys that we do get. Making sure we get guys that are going to fit in the program and hopefully move us forward. And we've been lucky that way to have some guys join us that have been good additions to our team and help build it and fortify it. And that's, I think, what we're all trying to do.
Right down here in front.
Madison Hertzig, the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Kirk, I want to ask both coaches this, but I'm going to start with you, Kirk. We haven't had a chance to talk to you in person since your offensive line won the Jim Moore Award. What did that mean for that opportunity to happen? And then for Coach Clark, what challenges does this offensive line present beyond just receiving that honor?
I'll start with the bad news. The guys told me that historically the teams that win the award play crappy in their postseason game afterwards. So that's a little bit of a challenge for us right now. But hopefully we won't let that affect us. It's kind of like the Heisman. The guy who wins the Heisman a lot of times ends up going on the banquet tour and doesn't show up for the bowl game. That's been a tradition over the years. But it meant a lot, and it's both happiest for our players and George Barnett just done a great job, and it's people in our area know we went through some bumps in that area, that offensive line a couple years ago, and attrition, injuries, we've been through it. Guys maybe that you were counting on didn't play quite the way you want, but that's football. It happens at all positions. But the way they've all stuck to it, and you look at our seniors, they all got good stories. All three of the guys that are doing that have got great stories, and the two guys that graduated last year are both playing on NFL rosters right now, Mason and Colby. So it was a pretty good group last year, and they took it another step with Pieper and Locke jumping in there. But we're going to have another challenge Friday. The season's not over. I say Friday. Whatever the hell did. To me, it is Friday. Tomorrow's game day, so I've got myself brainwashed there. But anyway, it's going to be a hell of a challenge for us, and we're going to have to play well. These guys make it tough on you.
Yeah. Right here in the second row.
For both coaches, and a little bit of a lighter question. There's a plethora of sports movies out there, and there's a bunch of actors playing real-life coaches. If someone had to play you, Coach Ferentz, I'm seeing Tommy Lee Jones, and Coach Lee, I'm seeing Billy Bob Thornton, minus the hair, of course. But who would you have in mind to play you if the film came out?
I do know who they both are, but have not watched a movie in a long time, except for ones that are like, old-time movies. So, yeah, that's one I haven't given thought to, but I'll leave that to the people who do that to figure that out.
Yeah, I was thinking Brad Pitt, honestly. I don't know. So when I look in the mirror, that's what I see. You see Billy Bob Thornton, I guess. I don't know how to take that. I do want to come back to the offensive line question because I want to be respectful of the second part there. Just to say, it doesn't matter what league you play in, but certainly I believe this to be true in the SEC, and I know it to be true in the Big Ten. You win up front, and you can't expect to play winning football unless you can win on both sides of the line of scrimmage. We always talk about the culture of our program is built in the offensive line room. So even though I'm a defensive coach, the thing I know to be true is our program will go as that offensive line goes. And so to have the chat, first of all, Coach, I appreciate you bringing up the history of the award. I didn't know that. That gives me some hope in the game tomorrow too. But I expect that offensive line is going to show up and play hard. That's all they've done all year. And what a great honor for that group, and a well-deserved honor. And also, too, to know that we have a proud offensive line group, too. And we have a group that really wants to make a statement tomorrow as well. And so I think what makes me most excited about the game tomorrow is the battle in the trenches. And I think you're going to see really a traditional football game played fighting for every blade of grass on that field on both sides. But certainly we see on film and have a ton of respect for the Iowa offensive line and the accomplishments they've had this year.
Right here in the middle aisle with the hat. Right there.
Yeah. Clark, you talked about the longevity of Coach and how you'd like to have that at Vanderbilt. Obviously, when you have success, it gets a lot of attention from other schools. Has it meant something different for you to do what you've done, where you've done it, and be able to do it at your alma mater?
Different in terms of just help me understand, just in terms of the attention it's gotten, or
the pride you take in
yeah.
what you've been able to do.
I think Gentry, one of the greatest parts of this for me, I mean, and you've been there and you've seen it at its lowest points. Anyone who was around the program in 2021, 2020, before I got there, pandemic year, then 2021, my first season, knows kind of the depths of where this program existed. And I think when, I don't know, this is my 5th year. I feel like I've aged 50 during this time. But I'm grateful for the fact that coming into this, I was naive enough to think I was good enough to do it, and so there's this thought process that, I could communicate my way into getting this group of players aligned and on board to play winning football. And what I realized quickly is that maybe I can do it, but I can't do it on my own. It's going to take a lot of people around me supporting the vision for success. Obviously, that starts with the chancellor, Candace Lee. We've talked a lot about her leadership, and then extends every ancillary part of our program that impacts winning. And to have experienced, to have lived through 2 2-10 seasons with a 5-7 season sandwiched in between, and to recognize the love and investment that we've put into that place. And it still hasn't changed much physically. Obviously, this football stadium feels different now, which is so cool, but this is a human story. It's a story about a group of people that came together, that were willing to see what was possible and willing to bleed into it and work hard for it. And we've lost people along the way, and that's painful too, but I look at it now and say, that's necessary. It has to be about the ones that have the belief. And so you ask about, the sense of pride I have in that. I think I'm so humbled and grateful to have been a part of it, and to realize that there is still room for a team that that puts a fence around the building, ignores the external perception, focuses on the internal investment, and cares about one another. And over time, that can give way to results. And so there's a lot of, I guess, pride in that. I'm grateful to have been a part of it, and I'm excited for this to be the beginning of it. And to your point about Coach's tenure, I mean, I'm excited about what the future can hold for us. But the future won't be there unless we stay true to that DNA, that soul that we have as a program that has allowed us to get to this point.
Right here. Yep.
Aria Gerson with the Tennessean. Kirk, what is it about Diego Pavia that you've seen out of him that makes him so special and that will be the most difficult for you all to defend tomorrow?
I mean, just a couple obvious things. It just, first of all, when you evaluate a quarterback, in my mind, it's all about, does he lead his team? Does he move the team? And ultimately, put the ball in the end zone or at least help you score points. So, my experience is quarterbacks come in all sizes, shapes. When you coach at Iowa, you coach at Vanderbilt, and I don't want to speak for Clark, maybe your guy's not always going to be 6'4" and run a 4'8" 40 or 4'6" 40, whatever. We don't get a lot of first-round draft picks at either school, I don't think, but winning quarterbacks are winning quarterbacks. We had a guy, Brad Banks, in 2002 as a first-year starter in college football, ended up being the AP Player of the Year, runner-up to the Heisman, the whole 9 yards, and didn't get drafted in the NFL. He wasn't a prototypical NFL guy. But our team followed him. They believed in him and followed him. So to me, it starts with that. He can do just about anything, and I think he's probably most dangerous. Whatever he's averaging carry, 4.8 or 4.6, whatever it may be, it's respectable. But when he scrambles and pulls it down, that number doubles and then some. So trying to contain him is a challenge, and it just gets down to great team defense. And we've played some good quarterbacks this year. Indiana's guy's pretty good. Oregon's isn't bad, and SC had a guy who was unbelievable too. So it's a challenge because every play the pressure's on. If you make a mistake, it might really cost you, and that's it's just easier said than done to defend that.
Coach
Yeah, Tom,
Ferentz,
on the left.
Tom Laberger, Tampa Free Press. You just answered my question to some degree. Starting with Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, and down from there, you faced a lot of top-shelf quarterbacks this season. Pavia, of course, can hurt you in the run game as well. But what is the challenge if you look specifically at the passing game and him getting the ball downfield against your defense?
Yeah, pick your poison, and he can throw the football. It's if there's one disadvantage he has is maybe trying to throw over the line. In those situations where he's trying to get the ball maybe in the middle, but he's elusive. He's on the move, and when he breaks contain or those kinds of things, typically bad things are going to happen. So you're trying to be aggressive against a guy, but you also have to be really careful. And that's again, it's like walking on ice in some ways. It's just really tough to navigate and negotiate against a player like that. And again, any play that he is involved in could end up badly for you defensively if you're not. Like, you just got to stay with your coverage and you got to stay with the rules of the defense.
Yeah. Question down here in front. Oh, in the back, sorry.
Yeah, thank
We'll
you.
get you next.
Jerry Mackey, the chairman of the John Mackey Award. When I sit here, I look at legendary coaches, future and established. How do you see each other when you look at your success, you turn around the programs, and being able to recruit quality young men that goes out into the world and be more productive? So what I'm saying is that we have a young up-and-coming coach, and then we have a seasoned coach that has been there and have been through the wars. How do you see each other, similarities? Is it the secret sauce is that you have great tight ends that come to your school?
Well, one of the things that I think every place is a little different. Every coach is a little different. It's so important as a coach to stay within your personality. The coaches I have the most respect for are the ones that, have a commitment to the foundational aspects of good football, what it looks like to play good football. And there's an intensity, there's a physicality to that. And so I'll never be Coach Ferentz because we can only be who we are. But boy, do I admire the identity that his program plays with. And I think, obviously the tight end position becomes important at both places. And has been featured in both places, and yet, what I believe to be true about sustaining and building a winning environment is when you have identity and you stay true to that, it serves as filtration for the people that want to come into your program. And I think if you look at our rosters, that there is a difference in how we've built our teams. I do believe there's a common thread in the fact that both teams play with spirit and identity. And to me, that starts with a commitment to being true to who I am and making sure that in the recruiting process, it's less about trying to convince someone to come be a part of it. It's more about being authentically who we are, being genuine, genuinely who we are, and allowing that to either draw someone in or communicate to them that they need to go somewhere else. And I think that would be, again, when I watch Kirk's team play, and when I think about it, and again, this starts with looking at his coaching staff. I mean, the first day I sat down and looked at the years invested at Iowa among his staff, I thought, my God, is this different? This looks different than any other program in the country. And then you look at their team and you realize how many of their players have been developed through 3, 4, and 5 years in that program. That looks different. And what you see in results then is a commitment to exactly who they are, an awareness of what their identity is, and I believe that they let that speak for itself, and it draws right people in. I hope the same will be said about Vanderbilt as we continue to search for consistency and results.
So, yeah, the tight ends, on that topic, I'll start there. And our local folks know this, but my wife in the 80s, anytime we lost a game, I'd come home and she'd say, you guys didn't throw the ball to the tight ends enough. And the sad part was she was usually right. And she says she doesn't know football. She knows it pretty well. But it's just, for whatever reason, it's been part of our DNA since my time going back to 1981. And I think it's interesting if you study it, too, just to follow up on what Clark's talking about in terms of recruiting. Think about a guy like Dallas Clark that was a walk-on at Iowa. George Kittle was going to Weber State, and we recruited him only because I coached his dad in 1981. I also knew his mom was a great basketball player. That's where the athletic genes come from. But he developed later after he got drafted, I think, 5th round. And that's about what he was, but he's obviously grown since that time. Sam Laporta, we almost didn't take. That's how smart we were. So we've had a lot of guys. T.J. Hawkinson was on the scout team his first year, the entire year. And then after 2 more seasons, it was the 8th pick in the draft. Noah Fant was heavily recruited. We don't get many guys like him. He could run like that back then, still runs really well. So it's like, there's a lot of different stories with every guy, but it's about getting the right guys in your program. And I think that's how we have to recruit. We can't have a, mandated like 6'5", you got to be 6'5", whatever board, because it'd be pretty, all those guys go to Michigan, Ohio State, and, we'd be playing with nobody. So you have to try to look beyond. You have to try to look beyond. And then just talking about, Clark, and again, I'm an outsider just looking, just like he's looking at our stuff. One thing I really admire, he just referenced he went through a couple 2-win seasons, and I know our first 20 games, it was like a body count every time we lost a game. Hawkeyes are now 2-19 under Ferentz, 2-20, and that's who we were for that first 20-some games. And unfortunately, I'm the old guy in the room here. Going back to who should play me, I was thinking about maybe Clint Eastwood in The Mule. Was he like 97 in that movie? That could be me. So anyway, and he said in that movie, I think his best line was, the only people who won't live to be 100 are the people who are 99. So hopefully I can identify with that someday. We'll see. But it's just it takes time to build a program, and not everybody understands that. I'm looking around right now. I'm just horrified what I see in terms of decision making across the. It's not going to change. Like, I'm not naive. I get that. I feel fortunate. I feel bad because I got 3 kids in the family business, 3 boys, and I just worry about the world in front. Because what can end up happening, you just start chasing the wrong things, and that's a shame. It's a shame, but. It takes an administration, takes people that understand, like it takes time to build things that are going to be sustained and last. And the other part of that equation, not every day is going to be a good day, and not every season is going to be a great season. So can you weather that and correct problems instead of like just, throwing everything out and trying to start over again? But that, you talk about old-fashioned thinking, that's where it is. But I'm stubborn. That's one of my better qualities probably.
Yeah, right down in front here.
Hey, Kirk. We normally talk to you 4 days before a game. Obviously, we catch you here 24 hours before a game. And you've often said, whether you sleep well at night on Friday, depending on how you guys practice this week. So do you feel like the way you guys have prepared for this particular game, you're going to sleep well tonight?
Put me on the hot seat there. So, yeah, that's what I was alluding to with the month. The bowl game month is weird. So you're happy some of the time, you're not happy some of the time. And then, coming off our first real work day, Tuesday practice today or this week, I just felt miserable, quite frankly. But then you get back and you watch the tape, and it's one of those old axioms: never is bad or never is good. It was actually a decent workout. And then we got better the next day. But today everything was pretty clean. But, it's not all that doesn't matter if you don't show up with the right mindset, and we're going to need that tomorrow because of the game we're in. But yeah, I feel okay. I think we're fairly healthy. But you're always afraid to feel too good just because, like, the 8 million things that could go wrong, well, all too well.
Questions? Anybody? Yeah, right here. Right here. Thank you.
For both coaches, and Coach Lee, you first. You want to be one of those 12 in the college football playoff. But if you can't be, is there a better place to be on New Year's Eve than Tampa at noon in the ReliaQuest Bowl?
Well, no. Yeah, I'm going to mess this up. I think this is the second time that Vanderbilt's played in a Florida bowl game. I'm almost certain that's true. To have a New Year's Eve game. Kirk mentioned this earlier in his opening remarks. And there's so much going on right now in the national conversation around bowl games and playoff, and I'm sure it's going to be an off season to remember that way. But I believe there are no mistakes. I think our team strived to be one of those 12. That was a goal of ours, obviously, and I think to start the year, we may have been the only ones that believed we could do it, and as the year went on, we brought some more people on board into that belief, which was that was a fun experience. We didn't do enough. We lost 2 games on the road that we needed to find a way to win, and so there's growth in that for us. But the celebration that was when we found out we were going to be in this game, and honestly too, I fought to be in this game. Anyone that would listen to me, including Jim and I had a call, I fought to be here because I wanted the opportunity for our team to experience the ReliaQuest Bowl. This has always had such a great respect among my peers for the quality of game, how first class they are in the operation. And I said this to start, it's a great next step for our program to be here, New Year's Eve bowl game in a great city. And the other thing that was so appealing to me about this game was the opponent, because at the time when this was all being settled, it was projected that I was going to be here too. And I just felt like this is what college football is about. And anyone, look, if I wasn't coaching it, I'd be a fan of it. And this is the kind of game that I want to watch. You got an established program that's had decades of success, but plays a certain brand of football, and you have an up-and-comer that is very similar in DNA. And so it's long-winded, but we're very happy to be here. And tomorrow is going to be such a celebration, and the outcome is going to be the outcome. 2 teams are going to fight really hard, but this has been an incredible experience for us, and it's something that we're going to be able to build on as we turn the page and focus on next season.
Oh, ditto that. It's just Bill Brazier was Coach Fry's longtime defensive coordinator. He had a great saying. He just said, all bowls are good bowls, some are better than others. And, so you want to play in the best possible bowl possible, and we all have goals at the start of the season to win in our conference championship. But, the reality is not everybody's going to do that. So, you trickle it on down, and you've got a great city. You've got people that just really understand how to run a great bowl game. And, again, I've got an extensive history now, 20-plus years. And one thing I really appreciate about Jim and the people that work with him, they listen to what players like and don't like, and they're eager for feedback. And then every year it's a little bit different, but it's really designed well for the players. And you're in a great city. Just everything about it's A+. So we're really, really, and as Clark said, typically you got a good matchup of 2 really good teams, and I think that's the case. And I'm a little biased, but I think this is probably going to be one of the more interesting matchups there is. You got two really good quarterbacks, both seniors, that have been really impactful with their programs, but 2 really good teams just competing.
In the back there.
Hi, Kirk. Jonah Krell with WQAD. Throughout the season, you've talked about how proud you are of this team to just continue to push forward amid some of these tough losses. For you personally, what would it mean for you to see your team get a win over a ranked team and finally get over the hump?
It'd be great. Just kind of, it's just, first of all, there's no bad thing about winning your last game. All right, playing in a bowl game and winning it is it's night and day. And I told our guys at the front end of the month, I've been to a lot of bowl games now in my career. And really what it gets down to is if you win, that's great, and if you lose, it just stinks. And it's about as simple as that. My wife pointed that out about 35 years ago. That's just how football is. It's what it boils down to. But it'd be a really fitting end for our team, and I'm not saying we're the most deserving because that's not accurate, but our guys are deserving. I know Clark feels the same way about his group, and that's because of the way they've approached the season. And I think both these teams have really just played really well all year long. And that's why it'll probably be a really hard-fought contest, and a lot of variables that go into it. But it'd be really meaningful to win, and I'd be happy for our seniors. We both have strong senior classes that way too. So you want them to leave on a really positive note.
Also in the back there and down below.
Colin Crothers, DITV. For Coach Lee, obviously not to dive into the specific X's and O's, but what is it about Iowa's play on the field that makes them so unique from the opponents you've seen throughout the season?
Well, it's 3 phases, so you got 3 phases interlocked, and all 3 complement one another. So the style of offense, the style of defense, style of special teams. So it's clear that there's a plan to win, and each 3 of the phases are doing their part in that plan to win. The patience they play with, the field position game they play. It's almost like the slow constricting that you see like on a boa constrictor, just squeezing the field position battle out and then finding ways to shorten the field. And when they get the ball in the red zone offensively, they're among the best in the country. And so it's very intentional to design that way. And that is, that's really hard. A lot of times you play teams that have very specific strengths and then also very specific weaknesses. But it seems that the team is designed and the game plan is designed to maximize the strengths and then obviously complement the weak parts. But all that's great. I think the thing that stands out most to me when I watch the film is how hard they play. And that's all 3 phases. These guys care a lot. Again, I talk identity as a program and those DNA strands that I think are similar. And I hope that when people watch us play, that they see a team that plays hard in all 3 phases. But what I see on Iowa's film is unique. And so you have a really smart design, a really complementary design, and then you have a group of players that really care a lot about what they're playing for. And that shines through when you watch them.
All right, thank you very much, coaches. We're going to ask you to stay here for a moment, and we're going to bring up Brian Murphy, the founder and CEO of ReliaQuest, to make some special presentations.
Thank you, coaches. Really appreciate the athletes being here, team, staff, everybody traveling in Tampa, and we're going to offer up some good weather tomorrow and have a good game. So we appreciate that. Also appreciate all the ReliaQuest Bowl staff and team members. You hear it over and over. What a great week that you put on, great month that you put on from the contract signing through to finish. And as a founder and CEO, really proud to be partnered with this organization. Jim gets a lot of credit for the ReliaQuest Bowl, which is deserving. But really, John is the one that needs to get more credit, his son. I came in here 4 years ago, a rookie. I can talk about cybersecurity in front of a microphone all day long. And John really gave me the tips and tricks to how to be the CEO and the chair of the bowl. So I appreciate John and the role that he plays. It's a family. As we say at ReliaQuest, it's a team sport. It's a family sport there. ReliaQuest, a lot of talk of change in football. I couldn't imagine what the programs are going through and just the timelines move around. And in cybersecurity and technology, we're going through that change as well. We do all the time, but artificial intelligence is driving a level of change we've never seen before. And when your software runs in every product that you depend on day in and day out, an airline you fly on, and banking app that you use, and your product is the first, second, third, and fourth line of defense against attackers that are leveraging AI, you care a lot about AI. And I'm proud about the investment and innovation that our teams have made to allow us to be one of the leading AI cybersecurity companies in the world. And that's just, for us, it's about doing the simple things savagely well in technology. We're excited. Part of this program, the reason we sponsor this bowl, is to bring awareness of both the opportunity and the importance of cybersecurity, not just to our local community audience, but the television audience. And then we added last year, we will be traveling out to both Iowa and Vanderbilt with our mobile collegiate cybersecurity labs program. And any student at those universities can take part and learn cybersecurity, start to learn how data moves around a network, whether they're interested in the field or just interested in learning more. It was very successful last year. Look forward to coming out to both your campus and starting to spread that awareness. And I say it every year, but don't click on anything you don't trust. That's my cybersecurity advice that I give you here. We wanted to do something a little different. We have a thing at ReliaQuest. We say security is a team sport. We talk about it all the time. We can't protect our customers if they don't work with us, and we have to work with them. And it's about being world class in the moment, being where our feet are, and keeping the main thing from a threat perspective. And so when we thought about sponsoring the bowl game, it was important for us to pass a little bit of our identity on into this program. We created the Make It Possible Award, and we say our job at ReliaQuest is to make security possible. It doesn't matter how hard it is, we're here to do hard things. And so we wanted to give the teams an opportunity to look at, as the players vote for their own player, and just as a team decide who their Make It Possible player of the year was. And for us, that's about attitude, energy, and effort. Who brings that day in and day out. Doesn't matter whether you're going to be a top NFL draft pick or this might be your last game. It's just who brings that in the team. And we all know in our respective areas who those team members are. And we wanted to bring a little bit of our culture here at ReliaQuest into the ReliaQuest Bowl. And so I want to welcome up the winners. First, join me in congratulating our Make It Possible Award recipient from Iowa, tight end. We're hearing a lot about tight ends today. Tight end, Hayden Large. According to his teammates, Hayden was selected due to his many contributions to Iowa football, the University of Iowa, and the Iowa City community, a selfless individual who is always accountable to his team and to his teammates. Hayden has demonstrated the tough, smart, physical, and together characteristics that every Hawk strives to emulate on a daily basis. Congratulations, Hayden. I think they're both the same here. This is John. We're going to need a refresh on how to do this for next year. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks. We'll get some pictures here. Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next, join me in congratulating our Make It Possible Award recipient from Vanderbilt, cornerback Mustafa Dinet. According to his teammates, Mustafa is the definition of making it possible. His infectious personality and energy set the tone for the Vanderbilt program. He shows up with purpose, effort, and unselfish mindset that makes everyone around him better. The fact that his hometown celebrates Mustafa Day speaks volumes about the impact he has on people, and it's the same impact he has in the locker room. He does the things that don't always get noticed outside the building, but they're essential to our success. Congratulations, Mustafa. Okay. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brian.
And thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, coaches, and let's have some fun tomorrow.
We'll get a picture of the coaches and everybody, and the kids up here real quick, and then you're all set to go. Thank you very much.